Baile de favela, bailão baile de favela.
Hey everybody, this is Turtle Gamer Junkie. I want to welcome you all. We're about to play episode 2 of The Council, which I actually discovered like half an hour ago. That was that episode 2 was up because I had no idea. The way I found out was I just came back from a jog. I connected my phone to the internet and was gonna watch the new Cobra Kai because I'm up to episode 7. And then this came out, just the notifications for episode 2. So I decided, okay, yeah, gotta install this, gotta have a go of it. So without further ado, let's get started. Do I want to continue? Yes, I do. Now, I know I didn't talk in the last one, well, I actually did, but I didn't have the proper audio over it, so it's like, these shouldn't be as bad as my other videos. Like of the first episode, they should be better. If you count me talking better. Now, when we last left off,
How many times must I tell you?
Oh, well, I guess it's going to explain it.
You must never put your life on the line for me.
Mother has always had a fascination for Lord Mortimer.
No, I mentioned this thing with the missing hand thing. I actually think it was the past, and I think the mother actually shoots Eliza's sister.
All I can tell you is I'm looking for my sister.
Is that her name, Eliza? It's been so long I forgot.
And
what was
for cannons.
Because like in the last one,
that you are
Adam
over the project on behalf of your mother.
Johann Christoph von Wulner, Minister of
Adam
Religious,
Johnson, I think
and
it was,
Jacques
like his daughter
Peroux,
died.
French Revolutionary Tribunal judge.
Because I told his
Find
name.
that Lord Mortimer is not what one would call conventional, Monsieur de Richet. Monsieur de Richet, I am arresting you
Hell is
for the
going
murder
on?
of Elizabeth Adams.
Elizabeth Adams, that's it, not Johnson. He was John Adams, not Adams Johnson. Because my mum had to go over this actually, and she told Elizabeth to leave, and so we never got the ending where she died. Alright, what do I want to skill in? Because I'm a detective. Questioning, logic, politics. So might as well get questioning and logic. Alright, let's do this. Now, how much of these things do I have? Displays immunities and vulnerabilities. The Council. Episode 2. Hide and Seek.
Is there
Here
nothing
he
you
is,
want to say?
Mortimer. Because I actually played like another walkthrough as a different
It
class.
wasn't me. I didn't kill
I
her.
got the
I'd much
stay.
rather have met you under different
And so
circumstances.
I got to meet him
Lord
in my
Mortimer,
ultimate
believe me, I'm
playthrough.
very conscious of the
which is
gravity of
on
the situation.
My channel.
Everything seems to point to me as the one who killed Elizabeth, but I swear I am innocent.
Out of respect for your mother, rest assured that I do want to believe you.
And all I
Look at
want
that
is to be able to
sickness
prove
up
it to you.
there.
When do we start?
We already have. Tell me, Louis, how do you feel?
Alright, there's logic, yeah, agility. Still gotta level up these. That's level 1, so yeah, what was I doing again? Oh yeah, gotta look at the characters. Where is he, Mortimer? I guess that's these custom trap. Focus free use trap like a rat or well, I don't think that one's gonna do. So
I feel
let's
like
try
a
brains.
rat trapped in a maze.
Interesting.
I beg your pardon?
Sarah also felt like she was trapped like an animal.
Where are you going with this, my lord?
Sarah's behavior grew odd before her disappearance. Her attitude changed. She became prey to outbursts of violence and a number of temporary absences. I'm just trying to make sure that you don't go getting lost like your mother did.
You're not
Hey.
suggesting that I might have killed Elizabeth and that I don't remember, are you?
I don't know, Louis.
No way Louis
It's
killed
just
him.
that what with your mother and now
Maybe,
you,
maybe his mother did.
it's rather a
What a
lot.
twist.
The more I take stock of the situation, the more I'm under the impression that you've been set up. But before going any further, I must inform you that Sir Gregory is about to arrive. He is coming to question you about the murder of poor Elizabeth, whom he was very fond of. He is quite determined to find the culprit, whomever they may be. So, convince him of your innocence. Then we can continue this conversation.
Who's Gregory? Lord Mortimer. Alright, doesn't really say.
William, I would like to see you a moment before we begin. In private.
Let's step outside a moment. Louis, this will only take a few moments.
Oh, there's a jar of honey in front of me, I think. On the desk. Search for study. Also got a search.
Let's take this chance to look around.
Alright. Is there anything?
The Nightmare painted by Fuseli in 1781.
Alright, cloudy water. Royal jelly. Let's look around over here and see. What's this?
Which four-letter word could open this chest?
Open. We'll have to come back to that one. Get that golden elixir, nice. What else is there? Spawn. Book over here. No, we cannot read it. Key within the occult
Dante's
water
Purgatory.
simple.
Why does your mind presume to flight when you're still like the imperfect grub, the worm before it's attained its final form?
Can I use it on this?
Charming. Which four-letter word could open this chest?
We're gonna come back to that, hopefully. I just want to take a look at these letters.
The Nightmare painted by Fuseli in 1781.
Enclosed are the witness statements of Guest, Bonaparte, and Hillsborough. When asked what were you doing yesterday evening, Monsieur Bonaparte replied, after talking with Lord Mortimer, I spent the evening playing cards with Sir Gregory, Mr. Washington, and his Eminence Piaggi. Sir Gregory won. When asked did you notice anything strange about the evening, Monsieur Bonaparte replied, at daybreak I thought I saw someone on the balcony. I couldn't see who it was. Yeah, shit, because I got caught. I didn't go back fast enough. What were you doing yesterday? Duchess replied, I spent the evening in Monsieur de Richet's company. We admired the works exhibited in the Manor Gallery. While going at the bed, we heard Miss Adams. As I was tired, I left Monsieur, you know what I mean, de Richet and Miss Adams in conversation and went to bed. When asked, did you notice anything strange throughout the evening? The Duchess replied, no, not that I remember. Oh, shit.
Please, sit back down, Louis.
Yeah, he did not care about her if they're talking about him with the hat, because they never
This
walked
sort of
around like
behavior is not working in
slap
your favor,
around.
young man. Monsieur de Richet, you were found standing over Miss Adams' body. We must shed some light on your responsibility in this tragedy. We shall then decide on your fate. But you must know that if you do not convince us of your innocence, it will cost you dearly. Now you are going to tell us everything that happened last night, without leaving any detail out. First things first, how did your evening begin?
Elizabeth asked to speak to me.
Duchess Hillsborough and I were returning to our rooms when Elizabeth came upon us.
Oh, so you were with the Duchess?
Yes, we were talking. We were walking up the stairs, and it was late.
Where did you come from?
I don't remember.
From the Grand Hall.
I think we came from the Grand Hall.
Oh, isn't that surprising?
Shit!
Do continue.
We were heading for our rooms when Elizabeth burst into the corridor, barely dressed. She was panic-stricken and insisted on speaking to me. So I found myself in Elizabeth's room. We sat down together. She insisted we have a drink, or she would refuse to confide in me.
What exactly did she want to speak about at such a late hour?
She was distressed. She just found out that I was Sarah de Richet's son and sort of insisted on telling me about the horrors my mother made her suffer. She was convinced she was going to die.
It turns out she wasn't wrong.
Ah, okay, good.
And what happened next?
Then she told me she had poured laudanum in my glass. The next minute I was on the floor. When I woke up, she was lying in a pool of blood.
That is all you have to say? You expect us to believe that you have no idea what happened to her?
Yes, because I'm telling you the truth.
How can you possibly expect us to believe you?
Gregory, we must consider every possibility.
Oh, he's Gregory.
Louis, do you have any idea who could have done it?
It would have even been me. Washington, my mother.
Maybe Mr. Washington.
But of course! And what would his motive be?
I believe he thought Elizabeth was stillborn. Washington could have been trying to protect the secret of his vice president, Elizabeth's father.
Sorry, Louis.
Shit.
But it so happened that Mr. Washington spent most of the time with
Fuck.
Duchess Hillsborough. She
Ah,
confirmed
it's
it.
actually the first time I've
Let's
failed
finish this,
something.
William. I don't rightly know how we can give the benefit of the doubt to an individual
Condemned. You have been condemned for the
manipulate
murder.
the truth to absurdity.
Louis, unfortunately, you haven't managed to convince us. You will agree that you had the time and the motive to commit the murder. I am devastated, but I must agree with Gregory and declare you guilty.
Gentlemen,
What?
if you please, wait. There is something else. Elizabeth ended up telling me why my mother had tried to treat her.
The voices in her head, is that
She
it?
spoke to you about them too, didn't she? Gentlemen, I'm not a doctor, but she was persuaded she heard voices
I'm pretty sure
in
she
her
was
head.
schizophrenic.
You don't think she might have killed herself,
By
do you?
stabbing herself 9 times. I find that extremely unlikely, don't you?
What? Stabbed 9 times?
It appears that the murderer walked up and stabbed her several times from behind. We counted 9 gashes in all. All of them were relatively shallow, and they were all given from roughly the same angle of attack. Traces of blood appear to prove that she was standing throughout the attack.
I might not have the strength of Hercules, but if I had stabbed a woman, I'd probably have made deeper cuts.
Sounds plausible. I have to admit, you put forward a powerful argument, Monsieur de Richet.
I think that will be all, Gregory. The benefit of the doubt suffices.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he killed her.
I would like to thank you for helping us shed light on what happened last night.
Lawyer. You convince the judges of the
To
innocence
be
of Elizabeth
honest,
Adams.
you are not the only suspect. I'm prepared to believe you were drugged. Our poor Elizabeth hid the stuff everywhere, and I could smell laudanum on you 3 yards away.
So you knew it wasn't me from the start?
We weren't sure. Louis, I am sorry, but everything points in the same direction. I only know one person on this island who might have had a big enough grudge against Elizabeth, who has no alibi, and whose behavior is, well, suspect. Not to mention dangerous.
Tell me what happened before my arrival. I think I've been patient enough.
You don't need us for any of this. So come along, Monsieur Peru. We are leaving.
Right. It's time we spoke about your mother, Louis.
She seems to be making every effort to steer clear of your guests.
What do you mean?
For the past few weeks, my mother's been playing cat and mouse, if you will. I don't know why, but it wouldn't surprise me to learn that she's trying to avoid someone. The question is, who?
And in your opinion, would she be the cat or the mouse?
Oh yeah, she's definitely the cat.
Knowing my mother, she would be the cat.
That doesn't make me feel any better, Louis.
What was the official reason why my mother came to your island?
I knew about your mother's activities, and yours, in the Golden Order. I thought we had everything to gain by working together.
You mean the canon deal with Monsieur Bonaparte?
Among others, yes. How did you hear about that?
Monsieur Bonaparte came to speak to me about it yesterday, during lunch.
I see. So impetuous. He was supposed to let me speak to you about it first. Our friend Napoleon desperately needed financial backing to properly equip his army. I took it upon myself to back him because I have a firm conviction that he can go far.
We shall see. However, there's one thing that surprises me. Isn't Bonaparte a bit young to deserve so much attention?
Well, you come straight to the point. I like that. Indeed, if you knew just how much you remind me of him. Trust me, I'll wager that Monsieur Napoleon will soon prove himself. I'm working on it, at least. Once this deal was closed, I had big plans for Sarah.
Such as what?
You see, I've invited several influential figures on my island to present them with a project at the conference. It will be presented later today. I thought that the Golden Order had a role to play, and I still think so. I was hoping Sarah would be able to join us.
I see.
Indeed, if by chance your mother decided not to return to us before the conference, would you do me the great honor of attending? If only to follow the deliberations while waiting for her to duly take her seat.
Why not? We shall see.
Thank you so much. In this way, you'll be able to keep your mother informed of what is said. There's something else I'd like to briefly go over. Earlier, you asked me the official reason for your mother's presence here. Is there an off-the-record reason why your mother came here?
If only my mother had trusted me, but
Yeah, I had no
she
idea I
remained
don't
very
trust him.
mysterious. I'd have been delighted to answer your question.
Is this usual for her?
As head of the Order, secrets are her bread and butter, as you can imagine. That said, it's the first time she hasn't let me in on the reason for her trip. And it intrigues me, to tell you the truth.
Well, I'm sure that Sarah will explain everything once she reappears. There's something I still don't get. In your opinion, why would your mother remain in hiding over several weeks?
Yeah, maybe she discovered
Maybe
something.
she found something out.
What do you mean?
My mother has a gift for investigating. If she had picked up a lead, nothing would have stopped her.
The only thing I can tell you is that Sarah had indeed changed. At the beginning of her stay here, we enjoyed spending time together, solving the world's problems.
You seem to know my mother very well, my lord. What did you talk about together?
Oh, as soon as we had a little free time, we liked to share points of view about practically any subject. We would find ourselves embarked on interminable discussions that could go from Monsieur Blanchard's flight in a hot air balloon to the Treaty of Jassy, or the adoption of the metric system in France last year, or even Mr. Eli Whitney's invention in the United States.
Whitney's cotton.
My mother must have undoubtedly taken great pleasure in these exchanges. She always was one to appreciate broadening her knowledge. I'm surprised she didn't get you started on the Crusades. It was her favorite subject.
Are you joking? Sarah and I spent entire days together reliving them. It so happens that the Crusades are also my subject of predilection, especially the Third. My ancestor distinguished himself brilliantly during the siege of Saint-Jean d'Acre.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
I know
my lord,
nothing.
the Crusades are not my chosen field.
Well, it doesn't matter. You have plenty of time to learn. Your mother is a very well-read woman. You're quite lucky to have her as a model, Louis.
Yes, I know, but I'm still very worried.
I must admit, there are worse things to worry about now, Louis.
What do you mean?
Since she disappeared, your mother has been seen once. Her behavior on the evening of your arrival greatly surprised Gregory and myself. She resurfaced to attack Emma, Emily Hillsborough's twin sister. And she
So
shot
it
her
was
with a pistol.
the past, it
Then,
wasn't the
before
future.
Gregory could intervene, she ran off and disappeared again.
I beg your pardon.
Okay, I had a
Hang on.
theory on that.
That means...
Can't believe I was right.
If it was actually happening inside the manor. Mother shot Emily's sister? The very person she came looking for? Why would she do that?
Excuse me, but between that and the childhood of Lady Adams, it's all a bit much for me to cope with. I need to piece it all together again to see things more clearly. You said that you spent a lot of time talking together at the beginning. What happened for that to change?
I'm afraid I haven't much to tell you. The more the days went by, the more she withdrew into herself. She never gave me an explanation, until the day came when she purely and simply disappeared.
Where did she go when she wanted to be alone?
She would shut herself away in a room we use as a box room upstairs.
Would you allow me to go there?
Naturally, Louis, of course. I'll send you a servant to open it.
Thank you.
That's all I can tell you about the disappearance of your mother, Louis. I would like to have been more helpful.
I shall stay on her trail and follow up any leads.
Thank you. We will meet later on to welcome our last guest. In the meantime, I shall get someone to open the box room upstairs for you.
Who is the
Thank
last
you.
guest?
The room is just opposite Mortimer's study.
This room. Read what is it?
St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio.
Oh, next skill to use.
A fierce opponent of the first Christians, St. Paul is suddenly struck by the call of Jesus Christ and converts. It's the best known conversion in Christian history, which teaches us that even enemies of Christ can be saved, and even become his greatest apostles after finding faith. From what I can recall, the account of his conversion can be found in the epistles to the Galatians, the Philippians, the Corinthians, and the Acts of the Apostles. Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtains of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior.
What's this?
What is this disc?
What's the worst that can happen?
Dante's Paradise. Raise your head and be reassured. For what comes up here from the mortal world must return.
Honey, the remedy of the gods.
There are burnt papers in the chimney. There's a legible fragment left. Hey, I recognize my mother's handwriting. She says, we must find a safer way to communicate. Someone is onto us. Trust in my faith in the man with the sword. So Mother had an accomplice here. Who could it be? Who could she be suspicious of? I must find the next part. Faith, sword. I recognize her love of riddles there.
Alright. We've got another riddle to solve. Let's do it. Let's go in the next room.
The door appears to be locked on the other side.
Okay. But you must find a safer way. Trust in my faith. Wait, trust in my faith in the man with the sword. I'm gonna die here.
I think I heard something fall to the ground. A metallic sound, like a key falling to the floor. So much for discretion.
I could use this, couldn't I? What's that? Nah, just kick it open like a badass.
It's open.
Amber.
Nice, got some amber. Just need one more.
Painting of St. Mark from the collection of the Apostles by Guido Reni. Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. It looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust.
I have no idea what that item was.
It's St. John, painted by Guido Reni.
I go outside, no.
The New Testament.
Jesus Christ.
And behold, there cometh one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name. And when he saw him, he fell at his feet.
Trust in my faith in the man with the sword, or could it be like that? This pen is mightier than
The drawing
the
of the
sword.
Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Reni. He's represented as writing the word of the Lord, transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel. The chest with the occult symbol representing air. St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust.
St. Paul, I think this
Clean
is why I
recently.
gotta look at the book.
There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. No, what does that mean? So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and the story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with the figure, maybe?
Some of the information.
So we have the figure 11 twice underlined, and a story of a group of pilgrims who it looks like Paul is speaking to. Maybe it's a code. There must be a connection. A text on Paul must be somewhere, and it must be associated with the figure 11. But what's the story with these pilgrims? I mean, a connection with the figure, maybe? Of the 4 apostles shown in this piece, Paul is the only one who isn't an evangelist. He is the 13th apostle.
Alright, so it's like 11, 4, pastoral apostates. Is this 11? No. 6 or 7.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy. Oh, wait, a note from Mother is carefully folded between the pages here.
Yes.
What does it say?
Got it.
Dear E, I'm glad you found this note. I was afraid the code of the 2 groups of pilgrims would mislead you. Pick up the package. You know where, and hide it where no one will find it. It's imperative, awaiting your reply, hidden behind the youngest apostle. What? The youngest apostle? What does Mother mean by that?
I'm gonna get back here then.
Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. It looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust.
I'll look through here, huh? No? Hidden from the youngest. Does that mean I gotta look at these pictures?
St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio. This painting has been hanging here for a long time. A lot of dust is built up on it. While a finger has drawn a number in the thin layer of dust, I can read the number 4. Caravaggio attained a magnificent command of black and the play of colors too. Paul facing an ordeal, the curtain of his illusions being raised, and receives the light from his Savior. St. Paul is the only saint to be presented twice in these paintings, contrary to the other apostles. How come?
Alright, so it said 4.
St. Paul painted by Guido Reni. St. Paul is shown holding a sword. Strange. There's hardly any dust, as if the painting's been cleaned recently. There's a small inscription engraved on the frame. Let's take a closer look. This is how Paul spoke to his pilgrims from Rome. Just above that, someone's written down the figure 11 on the painting and underlined it twice. No, what does that mean? Strange. St. Paul is shown twice, unlike the other disciples. There's nothing worth noticing here. cumbersome for me to
behind the
unhook here, but judging by the dust, it hasn't been moved for months, if not years. There are finger marks,
piece of furniture.
deliberately drawn in the dust. 8 in all.
What?
There are finger marks, deliberately drawn in the dust. 8 in all.
So it could be 4, 8.
Little characters are engraved on the chest of drawers under the urn. It's a sentence in Hebrew. Choosing the Hebrew alphabet is no coincidence. It's got to be a reference to the Bible. No, nothing of value here.
There's like 4 and then 8.
St. John is the only apostle painted in this gallery who hasn't got a beard. Hey, wait! That means it's him. He's the youngest apostle. Right! This painting is therefore associated with the answer which E had to give to my mother. Now, I just need to know how to recover the answer. The painting looks like it's been taken down recently. But wasn't my mother said that she would wait for an answer hidden behind the apostle? Ah, of course! There's something written behind the painting. On the second day, the pilgrims will listen to the prophecy of the young apostle. They shall add 1 companion to their left and 3 to their right to complete their rank. What does it mean? On the second day, the pilgrims listened to the prophecy of the young apostle. The prophecy of the young apostle, that was John. And the prophecy mentioned is most likely the book of Revelations according to St. John.
And
he, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in Hebrew, Golgotha.
St. John, was it
I and my Father are one.
No, I was pretty sure it's going to do something with St. John.
He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. And he, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in Hebrew, Golgotha.
I should have chosen the other one.
Now there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethesda, having 5 porches.
I didn't get that.
On the second day, the pilgrims listened to the prophecy of the young apostle. The prophecy of the young apostle, that was John. And the prophecy mentioned is most likely the book of Revelations according to St. John.
Apostles of Paul.
And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine.
It's gonna be that one then.
Saying with a loud voice, Worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power, and riches, and wisdom, and strength, and honor,
and glory and blessing.
Nope.
And the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times, and a half a time, from the face of the serpent. Hey, a new note. It's been folded carefully in the corner of this page. The writing, it's not my mother's. S. I found the book in your effects. I've concealed it where no one can get their hands on it. I can assure you, awaiting your instructions, I will hear your reply like he who hears the angel. Hears the angel? What does that mean? Oh, it's probably the place where she was expecting to get the location of the next note.
So it's going
The
to
drawing
be
of
here
the
then.
Apostle Matthew, painted by Guido Reni.
He mentions angels, so it's probably over here.
Transmitted by the Holy Spirit, who appears here in the guise of an angel. There's something else behind this painting. It says, half of each group will join the first city of Corinth. What the hell does that mean?
What's that?
There's something else behind this painting. It says, half of each group will join the first city of Corinth. What the hell does that mean?
Join the city of Corinth.
Several portraits of apostles, all signed by Guido Reni. It looks like someone touched this commode recently. There are fingerprints on the sheets and in the dust.
I'm tired. I should have stayed up late. Let me hear that one again.
There's something else behind this painting. It says, half of each group will join the first city of Corinth. What the hell does that mean?
Nope.
This book is incredibly precious. I believe this is the book my mother referred to when calling upon the Lord. A volume of the Gutenberg Bible.
Ah, shit, what am I doing?
And great multitudes were gathered together unto him, so that he went into a ship and sat, and the whole multitude stood on the shore.
No idea what I'm doing whatsoever.
Dante's Paradise. Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays. St. Paul on the Road to Damascus by Caravaggio. St. Paul is the only saint to be presented twice in these paintings, contrary to the other apostles. How come?
God is something else before.
But that which beareth thorns and briars is rejected, and is nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burned. Here's a message. There are some complications. Indeed, the Prussian is insistent. What's happening at your end? Do you need help? If tonight is not possible, let's see tomorrow evening, in the South Room, where we reviewed the situation. When Paul understood that only the axe counted, he went back on his tracks. I await your confirmation to his left, in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him. Yeah, this last comment is about their code. I should find new pilgrims near Paul. Whose end is destruction, whose God is their belly, and whose glory is in their shame, who think only of earthly things. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness.
Ah, this is just so too confusing for me. Oh, here it is. I think it was the second one.
How shall not the ministration of the Spirit not be more glorious? Because we look not at the things that are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. For you are bought with a price. Therefore, glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. For we are unto God a sweet savor of Christ, in them that are saved, and in them that perish.
Should be one of these.
For the Jews require a sign, and the Greeks seek after wisdom. For we are unto God a sweet savor of Christ, in them that are saved, and in them that perish. Now I pray to God that ye do no evil, not that we should appear approved, but that ye should do that which is honest, for we are as reprobates.
Oh my God.
Because we look not at the things that are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. How shall not the ministration of the Spirit not be more glorious? For you are bought with a price. Therefore, glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's.
Unto the pilgrims.
But though we, or an angel from heaven, preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. South Room, where we reviewed the situation. When Paul understood that only the acts counted, he went back on his tracks. I await your confirmation to his left, in the company of the pilgrims that have joined him. Yeah, this last comment is about their code. I should find new pilgrims near Paul.
Alright, we're getting somewhere.
For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood.
I know it's got something to do with you, Paul.
Follow peace with all men, and holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. For I through the law am dead to the law, that I might live unto God. Now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, be patient toward all men.
Oh my god!
I must go beyond the nightmare. What does she mean by that?
What is it? I didn't even know what allegorical means.
Clearly she must be trying to do something useful, but what? The nightmare. Does that remind me of anything?
Object?
Probably has to do with an object or something. Granting that this is the case, where might it be found?
I can't remember. Outside them. Oh shit, so I gotta choose a bunch of them, really? Oh my god, this is frustrating. It's a good game, but seriously, all these puzzles are freaking me out. Oh, I don't know. I don't know, Great Hall?
I thought it would have been over there, but something's telling me that it isn't. I better keep searching. Mortimer's getting his guests together. I ought to join them so I don't look suspicious.
Oh my god, I think like this part's over. You cleared your name in the eyes of your guests. I searched all the Mortimer study and discovered my mother's message. I did not understand my mother's message. I could have found the conversation between my mother and her partner. Okay. Manipulation. 4. 2. Get all that there. What do I want? Might as well put in politics. Alright, so I'm just gonna end the video here. Hope you all enjoyed it. I know I sure didn't with all that puzzles and that. I just had to keep just doing all this shit anyway.